This is a session to open your eyes to some opportunities that are here and how we can listen to your needs and respond as part of a federal grant that came down through the Economic Development Administration. There's a one-pager in front of you that gives an overview of this Good Jobs Challenge grant and why it sparked interest in the 7 north central counties, which is where it was directed to be. And so Tony is part of our WIN contractors group. He's serving in a leadership role. He's part of Raton Homes, and Tony can speak to his own side of what WIN is doing and trying to get the word out that we have great careers in the trades. So we just met this morning with some students that are graduating and talked about what's available. I'll be talking about the WIN grant and what it's intended to do, and then my colleagues from Union 412, we're in partnership with them. We funded a mobile training unit that you'll hear a little bit more about, and is coming here in July. So what this is all about is how can we get more people trained, qualified, and ready to work? And this thing you see in front of you, the Winnebago, is a way for a 3-week program that gets people job ready. And then it also, through the Workforce Solutions people, they get paid while they're being trained for 3 weeks at $15.90 an hour, and then they get another 7 weeks of paid internship at an employer who wants somebody to test drive. And so we're in the process now with Workforce Solutions of finding contractors locally, like Tony, who can pick somebody up and have them as a test drive, so to speak, for employment. We think there's a lot of opportunity with that. So I just want to go over the background of the WIN grant briefly. So I want to talk about why WIN, what it's all about, what are the goals and the innovations that are happening, and the benefits for employers, employees, and communities. I think we all know contractors can't find enough people. I mean, these bullets should be pretty obvious to most anybody, not just in Raton, but around the country, right? One of the things that's most dismaying, for us here is this is about New Mexico's 16 to 24-year-olds. A fifth of our group in that age are not at work or in school. And we really wonder what's going on. This is the disconnected generation that they're now being called. How do we reach those folks? How do we let them know there's real opportunities, particularly in the trades and healthcare, because WIN focuses both on healthcare careers and also skilled trades careers. The bottom piece here, a lot of people that are coming out of prison or have been in some kind of substance use rehab are not knowing that there could be a career for them. And that's a big part of what this WIN grant is addressing, is that population. We're part of an Economic Development Administration Good Jobs Challenge federal grant, and it's called Good Jobs Challenge because it's intended to move people from low-paying jobs into higher-paying jobs. And we think that needs education, that needs involvement in the community. And so a lot of what WIN is doing is creating a platform in each of the 7 counties that allows educators and employers and students and support service agencies all to work together with the goal of promoting what's available and then supporting people to get into good jobs. So this partnership is the really big piece of WIN that hasn't existed before. And the big part of WIN as well is removing barriers to completing training. What do you think the community college dropout rate is? Start a program and don't finish in 2 years. 50?
I'm thinking 77 or 80.
It's under 50.
Oh.
It's kind of scary because life happens. Somebody starts a program, they get married, they have kids, they're gone. The schools don't have the flexibility often to be able to offer classes at night or on weekends when they might be able to hold a job and go to school. And so what WIN recognizes, because the proposal was put together, Joan was one of our grant writers, and Camila Butsabate, who's been a dean of students at Northern and Santa Fe Community College, they interviewed those students every day and their life stories and found out why they couldn't stay on. And a big part of our proposal to the federal government was, can we impact that population? Can we get people who started into making a better job for themselves actually finish their programs? Okay? So we have particular goals to reach 850 people about training opportunities and actually placed 560 new people in jobs that they weren't in before during a 3-year grant period. We're working on creating a system that persists amongst all these different groups of employers and educators and social service providers and the other groups. We've got great stuff happening in so many communities. In Espanola, for example, right now we're working with Moving Arts, Roger Montoya's program, and he's getting youth that are in this category to actually create videos about the video arts that they're doing. And they can start at 3 in his program and go right up and get right into a career in arts, having done video editing, videography, choreography, dance, and now we're building in construction trades because you got to have electricians and plumbers and set builders and all that as part of it. A key for many of the people who are trying to finish a program of higher paying jobs is transportation, childcare, and other supports. So that's a big part of what we're here to do. And we can pay for essential tools, boots, and other things. So you'll hear about this program and the benefits that come from being on the bus. But for other schools that we're working with each of the community colleges, they have programs. We have navigators that go out there and meet with students and help them guide their career pathway. And we're open to union apprenticeship, non-union apprenticeship programs, and community college programs. So we're trying to get a big umbrella here and say what works for each individual. It's very confusing for students. They don't know how to plug in. They don't know which way goes where. And so we're here trying to clarify that for folks one-on-one because everybody's life is different. Okay? We'll talk in a minute about the mobile training unit. We've got a contractors network of 7 counties in north central New Mexico. And it's really hard to get contractors who are busy to come to talk about their own future. But it's in their hands to help get the next generation of skilled tradespeople. It's also in the educators' hands. And thank you for the work that's happening here at this school to promote the idea that there are great opportunities there. Do you have a counselor for the trades?
Miss Simpson is our counselor.
Terrific. And when did you start?
12 years ago.
So
I've been in education 25 years,
but you've been doing trades counseling as part of your job?
Yes.
Terrific. Does every high school have a trades counselor? They're happening. So our secretary of...
I'm not just a trades counselor.
Every high school has a counselor, and most of them, I think, can talk about the trades.
We do everything.
Okay, all right. Because I don't know that existed for a long time. I think the trades were kind of back burner for quite a while, and I'm really pleased to see that it's getting more support now in the schools. Okay. We have a network of contractors and working together. You know, one of the issues that we're seeing is there are people who are topped out in their jobs, and they're just at the top of losing their unemployment benefits if they make any more. That's a disincentive to get further training. So that could be something this North Central network of employers could go with a unified approach to the legislature. So we're looking at how we can, as employers, influence better things to happen. We've got community action teams going in each county, I've mentioned, and a hiring hall has just been developed for employers to post job openings and for people looking for work to post their resumes, just for the North Central region. And we have just-in-time support services. If someone's in need of a home to stay, or they need childcare or whatever, there's an automated system now that connects the individual with just-in-time support services called WIN Connect. That's another thing that WIN has funded. Okay, next. For job seekers, more career guidance and support to complete their studies and helping to find good paying jobs. And then we've got this hiring hall for employers and partnerships to grow and strengthen the trades. And for educators, most of our community college people are lacking instructors who are experienced, and they're looking to employers to help fill that void. Okay, any questions about why WIN and why we're here? There's a lot more to tell, and I appreciate your asking any questions that may come up.
So my name's Joan Baker. I'm the Director of Outreach and Engagement at UA Local 412. We're a union that hires and trains plumbers, pipe fitters, HVAC technicians, and welders. You heard about the mobile training unit. We operate the mobile training unit. We do it in conjunction with our other building and construction trade craft unions. We have sent non-union, so don't think if you're non-union, you sitting here as a waste of your time. If there is no union craft in the community, we are working with all contractors, with all types of employers. But what we do on the mobile training unit is we train 120 hours of apprenticeship readiness. It's a nationally recognized credential from NABTU, that's the National Building Trades and Construction Council. So that's all the building trades unions nationally got together and said, if we did an apprenticeship readiness curriculum, this is what it looks like. What we decided was we have a location in Farmington, we have a location in Espanola, we have one in Albuquerque, we have one in Cruces, we have one in El Paso. But there's a lot of space in between there. So how do we continue to reach and engage with people and train them for skilled trades? Because Raton needs skilled trades, and Las Vegas needs skilled trades. And right now I can't take it to grants, but I will once the grant is done. They need skilled trades, so how do we get there? And so this was part of the WIN grant. We go and we train participants, and then the part with Department of Workforce Solutions is a little where we get tricky, because they pay $15.90 an hour for the 3 weeks that they're on the mobile training unit, and then 7 weeks with an employer. The goal is to get them into registered apprenticeship. In some of these far northern regions, we haven't been able to get everybody into registered apprenticeship, but that's really the goal of pre-apprenticeship funds, is to then go into registered apprenticeship. That doesn't have to be union apprenticeship. There is non-union apprenticeship that exists. So I just want to be clear, like, yes, I have full interest and excitement in them coming into the UA Plumbers Pipe Fitters, our 5-year program, in our registered apprenticeship. But as part of the WIN and part of the grant, we're all inclusive. We do the best that we can.
Joan, just one thing to add to the apprenticeship. There is non-union apprentices out there, but to get the benefits, they have to be registered apprenticeship programs. You just can't have an apprenticeship program and get the benefit. It has to be registered to the state of New Mexico,
Right.
which all of ours are.
All
and
of
that's
ours
where your benefit comes in on money, all the funding that the apprenticeships get now, thanks to our governor. So.
Yeah, we did a great job on getting more funds into registered apprenticeship. So some of the reasons, so why are we in Raton? Because this mobile training unit is going to come to Raton July 22nd. I've worked with Ann and the superintendent and others here in your community that said, we want this, we want to do this, and we've been working together. We wanted to share that with you all. I'm actually going to turn it over to Art and kind of partner up with him. So why did we want local leaders here? Well, in some of these discussions with the community, there's getting ready to be a lot of building getting ready to happen in Raton, from what I understand. You're going to build a new school and media arts program and other things like that. And in other work that we have done, and I'll let Art talk here in just a second, a small community will get a big project and it'll go out to bid, and you use the procurement law that says that you have to go with the lowest bidder. And so an out-of-state contractor comes in, they build you a building, and they leave. But what did they leave behind other than the building? And there is ways and a strategy for you guys to better harness opportunity for your community. And I'll let Art talk about community benefits agreements and project labor agreements that you all might want to consider.
You put me on the spot.
I did, Art. There you go. Your turn. I'm right here. I'll back you up.
All right, thank you. So my name is Art Sparks. I'm a business agent for Local 412 Plumbers and Pipe Fitters. I've been in the trade I just got my 35-year pin. Been in the trade in 1988, since I was 19 years old. So been around it, been in it, I've been in the, on the tools, I've been in supervision, done quite a bit of it. For the last 8 years, I've been a business agent. I take care of northern New Mexico, which is all 7 counties that we're talking about. And one of the things that we're really trying to get out there to the communities and meeting with community leaders is PLAs and community project agreements, or county or community.
Community benefit agreements.
Benefit agreements. And what those are, like Joan was saying, you get a project, building a school. You got to go through the RFP process, and usually it's the lowest bidder that gets that work. A lot of times that lowest bidder comes from out of state. And the thing about them coming from out of state is they're going to bring their own workers. They're going to pay their wages. With projects like schools, you got prevailing wage is huge. You got to pay prevailing wage. But once they do all that, guess what? They leave. They take the workers and they take the trucks. They take all the equipment and they go do another project somewhere. Well, you're left with the building, and now you got to fund that building. You got to take care of the maintenance. You got to take care of all those things. Well, project labor agreement, first off, if you're looking to build it locally, well, we can do a project labor agreement with that county and municipal or city municipal or a contractor locally to win that award. Become signatory, win the award, boom. You got all the help from the union, from the state, everything you need. The community one, the benefit one is, you get a county municipal that you already have employees. And we can organize them in, give them all the benefits, help the community, a smaller project throughout that community through the union. So it's big. We're there to support the community and keep the money here and keep the employees here. That's our biggest thing, is keeping your community tight and together. Because we had 20 students in here earlier. 2 went down to actually visit contractors. The rest are all going to college. But what are they going to do when they get out of college? Are they going to come back here? Are they going to stay where they went to college? You don't know. But if you have some opportunity for them and some high-paying jobs, guess what? They might come back here. I know she brought up a lot of things. What do you guys want to see here in your community if you want to come back? Well, they had a lot of good ideas, but you need a way to fund those and have support for them. And that's what 412 and all the building trade unions, even, I have a hard time, I'm not going to say this right probably, but because I've always been union. But I'm learning how to work with the non-union sector, because they're big. They're part of the community. They need our help. We need their help. So those conversations are happening now. I just had a good conversation with a gentleman here. We're here to support no matter what it is that you guys need in your community. There's 13 building trade unions out there. There's a lot of them right now are looking and going down that same path that 412 is. We're the first on the bus. We're first doing a lot of these things. We're highly involved throughout the state of New Mexico, but especially in northern. My focus is northern New Mexico. As soon as we're done here in a couple of years, we'll be going down south. We'll be going over to Grants, Gallup. We're going to be going, this whole state will be covered by 412, doing the same thing we're doing here today. That bus is a huge tool, and you got to take advantage of it. It'll change lives, I guarantee you.
Yeah,
We don't sell jobs, we sell careers. And we like the community and the leadership of those communities to partnership with us to get that done. So.
Yeah, and so a lot of people have said but you want to bring your mobile training unit into our community, and then what? Because I can take them all to Albuquerque and Espanola. I can take them all to Los Alamos National Labs. But I don't want to be like the out-of-state contractors that we just talked about. I want to leave something back here. Local 412, we have union at the end of our name, but we are a cornerstone of the communities in which we work. I want to leave a registered apprenticeship program here. Yep. I want to help you all develop one, build one, have one that's connected with us, so that you have those resources, you have that gold standard training for the municipal buildings that you need to work on, that you need to do the maintenance on, that you need to build new things. And please see us here as a community partner to help you build that. Now, we are a local union, so there are some things that were like signatory contractors and other items like that that helps build and strengthen that partnership in a very concrete way. And so that's what we're here to offer and have discussions about. Does anybody have any questions about project labor agreement, community benefits agreement? Is anybody familiar with those?
So is the project labor agreement strictly union-based, or is it provide for?
It mixes. So what it does, it's not like,
So let me give a perfect example. There's a project with the city of the city of Albuquerque at the airport. That's a project labor agreement. And the general won the contract. Well, he brings in subcontractors, and those subcontractors have to sign a PLA with the local unions, because every job over a certain amount of money has to have a registered apprenticeship attached to it. And the only ones right now that offer those registered apprenticeship programs are union contractors, are union building trades. So that's how the project labor agreement works. Contract comes in, he signs a project labor agreement, we man the work, they pay, we set up we can either go by our base rate, what we have, or negotiate a different rate with them. But they use a registered apprenticeship program and are qualified trained journeymen on the job. And
Right.
then when the job's over, that contractor say, hey man, I really like this. It's an opportunity for them to get a look at the union. They say, hey, I really like this, and then they can come in and sign it onto our collective bargaining agreement and become a signatory contractor. But it's a short-term fix for providing manpower and contractors in the labor field.
and the training, and then making sure that your local workforce is what's, because right now, if you don't have that workforce, yeah, like, we're going to work with your youth, like on the mobile training unit, and work with individuals unemployed, and we're gonna start training them as the job is happening here. Community benefits agreement, project labor agreements can be done two ways. They can be done per project, so you can say, you know what, we only wanna put a PLA on the school that we're gonna build. Or the city of Albuquerque has an ordinance where they say any project being built with city funds over $10 million must go to a project labor agreement. That's the way the city of Albuquerque did it. But Maxion Solar is coming in to Albuquerque, and they're a private organization, but they are signing a project labor agreement to build their facility because it's project-based, not based on the ordinance. So it's something to look at, but to know that workforce development piece is going to be left behind for as long as you continue to use it.
So is there a rule that like 60% of all the work has to be performed by local contractors and subcontractors?
You can write that in, yes.
Yeah, you can
Well-
set up the PLA what makes sense.
So it would be the incoming foreign corporation that would set up that agreement. But how do we benefit on the local levels when we don't have contractors that they're understaffed? That's the problem. That's why nobody's here today, because they're out working. That's the problem. So how do we bridge this? This is the bridge that we have to get to.
Sure.
Yeah, so when they're on a project labor agreement and that brings in the building trades involvement, we start staffing up and supplying that labor. So I ran an HVAC contracting business, and I became signatory to the union because I could not find qualified workforce. HVAC technicians, especially high-level quality HVAC technicians that can work on data centers and boiler systems and chiller systems, they didn't exist. And so I became signatory to the union because I knew at least they were going to work with me as a partner to train the ones that I needed. Can we find some to bring in the core trained people we'll bring in from maybe Albuquerque, maybe we're bringing them in from most of them within the state, okay? But our goal is to utilize them to train apprentices so that we leave that qualified workforce behind when the building is done.
So essentially, like you would hire Brandon here to like, let's say do the HVAC for the new school system, and he would reach out to the union for extra labor and expertise, and then, okay.
You know, the ultimate goal for me, you know, we have 5 training centers throughout the state of New Mexico. We have one in Espanola, one in Farmington, one in El Paso, one in Las Cruces, and the main one in Albuquerque. Well, how great would it be with all this work coming to your community if we could set up a training center here in Raton to train the, you know, the surrounding area? You know, provide the instructors, provide the equipment that you need to do the training. That would be an ultimate goal of mine for Raton. Because you guys are so far out there, it's really hard for a kid from Albuquerque to come up here and work and then go back to Albuquerque for school twice a week. It's just, it doesn't make any sense. But there's ways we can work around that, and one of those, set up, you know, we had, when Urenco, I don't know if anybody's familiar with the uranium plant down in Urenco, we set up a temporary school down there for about 2 or 3 years while the apprentices were down there working, so they could get their education during the week and work or during the night and work during the day, and they were working 7 days a week. So it was there for 2 or 3 years until the job finished up, and boom, they all came to different places or went out to different jobs across the state. So, you know, that's an opportunity as well. Set up a temporary training center up here. Could do it here at Theis. You guys have a welding school here, right?
Yes.
Perfect place to set up a training center.
Well, and
We don't need a lot.
not just Raton, but Maxwell, Springer is looking at going out. Mascaro just did. Des Moines is in the process.
Right.
This northeast corner has quite a bit
So
going
we
on.
have a job in Des Moines right now at the school. We have Donner Plumbing and Heating that's on that job. Guess where the workers are coming from? Because the trained people aren't here. They're coming from Albuquerque. So Donner's having to pay those guys to come up, get them hotel rooms, pay them per diem to work in Des Moines. And that's a tough place to work. That's a huge distance from Albuquerque to there.
But it brings
So-
up the cost on the schools on the other
Yes, it
end.
does, because they had to put that in their bid to get the bid.
Yeah, you're talking about big money per diem every day.
Yeah, and that's all
Every day.
prevailing wage work. Every bit of that work on that school, every school you do in this state and the country is prevailing wage work.
So when you write these agreements, can you write in that they will train local apprentices
That's
registered
part of the
with
WIN
the
grant and
union?
all that, is training local
And so the
workers.
kids knowing that really would like to go into 412 or the IBEW, when we contract, part of that agreement would be that they train X
Well,
amount.
that's what I was telling you, most of these PLAs, they require registered apprenticeship programs, and right
And-
now we have that.
And you craft it to the best of your community. You
That
say,
makes
you know,
sense.
I want to make sure in this project, this one, start with one project, right? Don't start with an ordinance. You don't know how it's going to work for your community yet, but start with one project and you say, on this project, we want 25% registered apprenticeship, newly registered apprentices from this region. And that's part of that project labor community benefits agreement and the demand that you have on the contractor. If you're gonna do work here, if you're gonna take Raton money, if you're gonna take New Mexico state money that we have to do something, this is what I'd like you to leave behind, and you have the power to do and negotiate that.
Yeah. When that job's over, guess what? They could be a part of your municipality, working on your maintenance crews, stuff like that. You know, and there's tons of opportunity out there. You know, it's a big, wide. I don't even know. But there's just so much opportunity.
So you guys have taken the mobile training unit around to a couple different
Yes,
places so far. How has that worked out to date? I know it's very new this year and all, but
So the first one was Espanola. That was a kickoff. And those 10, well, I think there was 9 students, a couple dropped out. 7 of them went to Los Alamos. Brand new apprentices, worked up there 7 weeks. Los Alamos kept them there at the lab, and they're still working today.
Good.
Well, actually, one of them quite didn't make it. But, you know, those things are going to happen. If you get 10 students, you may lose 1 or 2, but you know, for the most part, it was very successful. We've done.
Then we went to Las Vegas, and 2 of those went on to get their CDLs. Because of our partnership with Workforce Solutions, we did the 3 weeks, and instead of them going for 7 weeks, then they went to get their CDLs because they were going to need that for their next step. And they're now employed. 3?
2 are with Lano right now.
Right.
Two
win-
are with Lano.
Okay.
They commute every day from Las Vegas to Lano every day.
Tell me more about Lano, because I'm not originally
Okay.
from here. I have no
It's
idea.
the
Okay.
national attitude.
Okay. Los Alamos, it's Los Alamos.
Oh.
It's up there, and it's the labs. So, but we had the privilege of, what's his name? From, not our trainer.
Brian
So-
Watkins?
Yes,
Yes,
from La Luna.
Oh,
Joey.
that's Joey. From
Joey
Lyona.
came in. Joey came in to workforce office. I got all the kids, they're not kids, they're men. Participants, all the participants. We need to come up with a good name for them. So the participants came into the office. He did a presentation. He actually did a presentation before they left the mobile unit on their last few days that they had there. They all graduated, and he got them. They filled out paperwork. They showed up on a Monday morning. There's 2 of them that are up there. They're tickled pink. They're excited. They're happy. They're good to go. La Luna has other places that they can place them. So those 2, one of them has actually even been offered a job with Lano itself. So instead of being with a contractor. Then the other 2, I have 2 more that did the CDL. We have another partner in-house with this Help New Mexico, which is the WIO funding grant. They're going on to get their hazmat with CDL driving, so they can handle and just deliver fuel, because it's going to be a really big thing there in Mora and San Miguel County because of the fires. We're going to have a bunch of contractors come in. I have one young man that is doing his CDL, welding. He is with welding with Garcia Welding. So he is employed with Garcia. He actually is going to graduate through Luna Community College, and he will keep going on.
So what we did was sorry Debbie, we left that individual with a local contractor that they
Yes.
wanted to go with, and we partnered with Luna Community College for him to continue his education. So that can and does happen.
And the fact of the mobile unit, what it has to offer to the participant is really great. And it's that OSHA 10. So the rest of them have all been with local contractors that are getting the FEMA money contracted individuals. So for instance, I was talking to Tony here, is that if you guys know of anybody that wants to be on the mobile training unit, get a hold of us. It'll be Chicky Lee Gomez at our HSD office or myself. And then we will be able to put them on the mobile training unit, and they get to stay home. So if you have somebody, if you guys are all, the businesses here, so if Tony has 1 or 2 that he wants to put on there, DWS will continue, once they're on the mobile unit, we're paying for that. So we will continue to pay for additional 7 weeks after. So we have 400 hours that we will pay for. They get a little bit of a bonus. They have a stipend for $300 of boots. They get a certificate to go purchase the boots. So that, and I hope that we have some for our local contractors here in Raton, and they stay home. They stay here. So that's why we were trying to talk to 2 of the young men today, the seniors, earlier. And it looks like they might be willing to do that and then stay with the local contractor. So even if it isn't with 412 on the union, we can keep them with a local entity, and we'll still pay for 7 weeks at $15.90. It's not a lot, but it's nothing to sneeze at either. It's $15.90 an hour.
Yeah, so they get paid, and then to sit through training. That was a huge barrier previously, was how do you get somebody to sit 40 hours a week for 3 weeks they still have bills to pay. We're looking at really reaching people in underserved, underrepresented communities with the mobile training unit. So then in Theis, we had 8. 2 dropped in the last week, but out of the remaining 6, 5 of them went to Los Alamos National Labs with the laborers, and 1 stayed at Theis Electric. So we invite employers to come on and present their employment opportunities, so they also get to see what all is out there. But we take very seriously, like, their last day, I'm getting them placed. I will find a way to place them and get them in good jobs and start turning their lives around. So we've trained people up to 50 years old on the mobile training unit, because it's the MC3. And Kristen Forrester, I'm going to call her out, because when I first started at Local 412, she was doing a lot of the MC3 work, and she was working into public schools. Do you remember our conversation? Like, this is something that we can also leave behind with the mobile training unit, is we can get somebody here ready to do MC3 and leave MC3 behind all for you. But it's so flexible that we can do any age. We had between 18 years old and 42 years old on the mobile training unit all at one time, and they all found it very beneficial. So that's that question. Any other?
The other thing I'll add to that is, once the student goes through the MC3 program and they get that certificate and that credit, that gives them credit into, well, our program is direct entry, others it's a direct interview. Even if they go to a contractor that's not signatory, that doesn't work out, they still can come to a local contractor or a local union to an apprenticeship with 6 months credit, which means instead of starting at $17, $18 an hour on the job, they're starting at $21, $22 with their benefits. So there's a lot of benefit to that MC3 program. If you keep it here at Raton in your high school, your seniors, once they take that 160-hour training, it's 160 hours, guess what? They have a direct entry method into an apprenticeship without even going through the pre-apprenticeship mobile training unit.
Yeah.
So there's tons of opportunity there as well.
So how many pre-apprenticeship programs do we have registered in Raton right now?
Pre-apprenticeship? We don't have any.
Well, we participate part of the consortium, and we're only allowed a couple of slots.
As many as you want, but that's the MC3 program. And
Right,
pre-apprentice, I was talking that would
okay.
need to register the students into the course.
No, I
take.
understand that
Yeah.
part, yeah.
So do you have
What
a
I'm
trained
asking though is,
instructor?
if they didn't want to, their interview would be in somewhere in Albuquerque.
Not
They don't want to go to
necessarily.
Albuquerque.
Not necessarily.
That's what I was told.
Yeah.
So that they get an interview. So
Right.
I'm just asking what's in our area, because I have kids
If
that
they
don't
go
want to
from
go to
MC3
Albuquerque.
into registered apprenticeship.
Yes,
right?
Where are they at
So-
in our area, so that they could,
Currently, you all have no registered
Okay.
apprenticeship, which is why we're talking about how do you get that here? How do you bring that here? How do you build that here? And how Local 412 can be a partner in that.
Right,
think
he
the-
was talking about the school that they did for 3 years
Like in
somewhere.
Eunice, yeah.
I think what we're able to offer here in the community is OJT, and
Yeah.
I've been doing that through the state because I have to do all my own training for everything. And sometimes it works, and then, I get with these guys 5-6 months, then they're gone. They want, gonna go do this, I'm gonna move to Pueblo, I'm gonna move, you know what I mean? It's hard keeping these guys here. And I do agree that we need to educate our people here. Our biggest commodity we've been doing is sending out our kids for 40, 50 years. We send out these guys, they're super educated, they do well in the world, they don't come home. And I never planned on coming home. I was also union, me and him were talking about it. I'm very fortunate that I was taught a trade and I learned to come home and actually be self-sufficient. And I want that for other men too, and women. We need it. That's the only way we're gonna grow as a city, and in the right way. I go through it all the time. I've been dealing with Jennifer at the bank. I put my whole life and soul into this company, and either I make it or I bust. I gotta go back to the city and join the union. I tell my family that all the time. It's either we make it or we go back to the union. So I do think we need something. I've asked about training here, and they always come back to me saying, well, can you do the training? I'm like, I'm already doing the training on the job. Like, I can't now go to the classroom also when I'm doing it all already.
That's the biggest thing, is trying to find skilled instructors to teach the classes. It's very difficult to find. The nice thing about MC3, and is there a program here at Raton? MC3?
It's offered for the whole region to,
Oh, okay, gotcha.
you know, all the way from Logan, Clayton, all the way up.
Okay. But what's nice about that is you don't need, that MC3 program is set up to where you can bring your own instructor. It's 2-day training for that instructor to actually teach the class. And he can teach or she can teach the 160-hour training and not have to have a lot of knowledge in the trade.
And
Because it's
the
a
training's
computer-based,
online.
it's computer-based training. But we can also bring people in during that training and get more of the
Bring in
hands-on.
local
or more of the-
contractors to
yeah.
do hands-on pieces with them.
Hands-on pieces of that.
So if our students do the, I'm trying to be this, I'm trying to figure out how this I'm sold on this.
Mhm.
I'm just trying to figure out how it circles back. Do you know what I mean? That's the part that I'm trying to figure out. So if they wanted to stay here and they did the MC3 training, where would they go here?
So
right now-
hopefully we'll be working with
Okay.
with your
That's why
local
we're doing it.
contractors.
Yeah.
Until we get people here signatory and registered apprenticeship, we're working with everybody here to provide that gold standard training. But once we leave them behind, this guy's over here, he's gonna say, you know what? Send me more. I want you to complete out their training. And we're gonna build that up here for your area and your community, and so that you have access to what Albuquerque has, right? That we're here in partnership with you all. That's why when Ann and I started having this discussion, I said, we need to talk to local community leaders, not just employers, not just this, not just that, because we are showing up here as a community partner. We know that you don't have registered apprenticeship here right now.
Because this is what I'm hearing, and I understand kids saying this. They said it today when we were talking. They're being in Raton, they're not going to travel to Albuquerque and back every day. They can't. It's not. Yes, but they can't afford to live there either. So they're like, so how does that help? They can't afford, they can't drive to Los Alamos and back. Like in Las Vegas, you can. Espanola, you can. Los Alamos, you can, do that. So they're not going to be able to do that from here. So that's, I don't want to go, here's this great program and I'm all sold on it. Don't get me wrong, but we have to circle it back. Is it feasible for kids, working to go and live there? Do they have the resources to do that? And that's a real problem for our community. We're so far away from everything.
Well, with that, so this is the question I had. How can the county and the city help with maybe bringing one of these training centers from the local 412 here to Raton, and then instead of having all the students go, and I don't know if it's a number of how many students we need to make this a success as far as countywide maybe, but it's easier to bring maybe the teachers here instead of having taken all the students to Albuquerque or.
Exactly, and that's why we have the mobile training unit, right? To show that bringing the teachers in is not a huge, it can happen. And so, like say, for example, we said, you guys are getting ready to build the school, okay? You decided to put it on a project labor agreement. We find a empty space that we partner with the county to start training. We bring up all the equipment. We have instructors. Maybe we can only get our instructors up here one Saturday, 2 Saturdays a month. So we change it, right? We change it and we adapt it to you and your needs here in this community. But 2 Saturdays a month, we're going to Raton. They have that project. We have to get up there. We have to do the theory. We know that OJT is happening great with our contractor partners and things like that. So and I know he's not here today, but our business manager, Courtney Eichhorst, what he tells me is, I'm like, Courtney, if we go there and we say this and we say this, what can we do? And know what Courtney tells me? Joan, if you can dream it, we can do it.
Well,
So
and
how is it going to work here?
what she's saying makes a lot of sense because regularly they would go 3.5 hours 2 times a week. Okay? So if they would come up one Saturday or 2 Saturdays a month with the equipment, they're still meeting. They have a training requirement with work. And so I get so much training, so much work, then I start moving up, make so much more money. More training, more work. For the hours and the it's 5,000 hours of training?
To turn out, it's 8,000 hours.
8,000, but it's broken into like theory
4 years.
and job.
Yeah.
4 years.
Ours is a 5-year program.
With these project labor agreements, I'm interested in seeing one, so I wanted to give you guys a card. I'm gonna
Yeah.
be here in a minute.
Card as well.
But I'd like to
We'll
talk
email you
to
all the
both of y'all.
cookies.
And we have county projects that are coming up, and I'm more than willing to take it in front of the rest of the commission
Okay.
to show.
So if
It is.
she's asking here is what I'm hearing. Okay, you come up, you're training them, there's local projects, they're working on those local projects. They're not going to Albuquerque to work, so they're getting their theory and their work experience at the same time. Not to say somewhere in those 4 years, they may have to go, I worked with a bunch in Alaska, up on the slope and spend time and a half or double overtime and make a lot of money, and they come home and I'll buy new trucks, but
Yeah.
Nice
No,
thing
and
about
I
our-
understand
nice thing
that
about
part.
our
I'm just
apprenticeship
worried
is
about
we can
they
do
have-
it where,
it's
Yeah,
housing
well,
costs.
so
I
a
say
registered
one-
program, you have to have a certain amount of hours to
No,
to-
I'm
to
talking
go
about
through.
all my.
So we can break that down into two
I
days a
traveled.
week.
I lived in my.
We
fifth
can break
for
it down to
3 years.
8-hour correspondence classes, one Saturday a month,
Per diem.
where the students
Yeah,
up here only
that
do
part
one
is the
Saturday.
great part.
Yeah.
I mean, your part is the great part.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It's phenomenal what you guys have done. My part is I'm just looking at my students and going, where do they go from there? Because we need the adults, the contractors here
Yep.
to step up.
Well, you need
That's
the
the part that
contractor.
I need because,
Well, you need the work and the contractors here.
right, well, no, I think there
That's
is
it.
work here. I keep hearing there's
Yeah.
work here
Yes,
from
there is.
everybody.
There's
I
work
have
here.
work I need to be done at my house. I
Those
can't
are
do
the
that.
two things you
So
need to
there's
make
work.
this work. Yeah.
I just think that we need the community buy-in, the contractors buy-in, so that there's the complete circle.
Exactly.
That's the part that we're missing, because we have this great what you guys have done is phenomenal. I'm blown away by it. I have been for a while, but it's that part that I keep asking.
See, for
Yeah.
instance, if we get that senior, okay, he's gonna go and he's gonna do the mobile training unit. And he wants to do electrician and he wants to do this. So we get him on there. I do this 3 weeks training. He gets all his stuff because he's already got half of it, okay, but it's still gonna benefit him. And so he says, you know what? He's on there, he liked it. He says, well, I wanna do construction. So this is where we team up with Tony. And then I'm gonna pay him for 7 weeks to go with Tony. And Tony says, oh man, I love this kid. He's good, he's amazing, he's awesome. School isn't for him, but this is. The hands-on trade is. So then he goes with Tony. Tony keeps him. He says, Deb, I love him. He's doing great. He's awesome. He shows up. He likes it. He likes what he's doing. So then he hires him on full time. So there he stays home.
And when we finished this morning, as soon as we finished, we go to walk over to the gymnasium and there's a welder making a repair right
Right
there.
out the doors.
On the handrail.
Right
Yeah.
out the door, there's a welder there making repairs. I know you guys need to regularly test your sprinklers, and these sprinklers have backflow mechanisms on them, and those are very important to be tested every year so that the solution in the sprinkler system doesn't backflow into your drinking water. You have to do that. You have HVAC equipment, you have plumbing, and you have electrical in here that needs to be regularly maintained all the time. So, like you said, the work is here. And that's why today it was so important, and I've told Ann, and I've told the superintendent here, like, this is my model going forward, is that when I come into a community with the mobile training unit, I want to meet with students, and I want to meet with community leaders, and I want to meet with business owners every single time before I come in, because it takes all of that to really make it work, and that partnership to build up every community. I don't want to just go in and take out a bus full of kids. I want to leave something behind and become a partner. And that's what I told Ann, and that's what Local 412 School is here today.
One of the things that Lynette and I were talking about earlier was what may help encourage other contractors and employers to get involved and consider the program is if we can take some of these successes, like the example you gave with Tony, and promote that and have Tony say, you know, I hired this kid or this participant out of the program, and this is the house that we built together because of that program. And this kid now, or this participant now, has his own, you know, apartment or place to live.
And I love that, because so far I've been capturing testimonials of participants, how this program has changed their lives. But I like where you're going, where I talk to a contractor and say, what did this program provide you? Did it provide you better raw material? Yeah. Right? Somebody who can come up, stay off their phone, show up to work every day and be safe, right? That's hard enough as it is, but did I provide you that?
Well, one thing that we've started is the WIN website, which does have the ability now for contractors to respond, to put out an ad for help, okay, and give some guidelines as to what we're looking for. We just did that, right? So, you know, give us another 2 weeks or 3 weeks, maybe we can get more contractors to participate, okay? Because I don't have training that would fill your need. You know, I have training that I have to take them and literally take them on site out of town, okay? And I have to show them how to frame, how to measure, how to cut. You know, it's not as technical as your jobs, but it's still basic, and it's safety.
And that construction math is a huge piece of what happens on the mobile training unit. How to read the tape measure, how to do takeoffs, how to get your angles. That is a gigantic piece that covers across all trades. It's multi-craft core curriculum, so that it covers all building and construction trades. Now I'll tell you, most of their hands-on is in plumbing and welding. Because that's what the instructor specializes in. But I go to community partners and I say, would you like to provide a framing project for them? Please come in half a day and provide a framing. I'll buy the materials, right? You don't want Frank framing. You don't want Frank framing. But, you know, and then when the welding happens, we actually bring our welding instructor up, our welding coordinator, right? Our HVAC coordinator, we bring him up, and he does HVAC and electrical components. In case IBEW can't come, they still get a feel for electrical. So any community member, any contractor who, and we work with the other local unions who's like, I'm looking for a framer out of this. Tell me what you need for a framing project. I will bring the materials, and please come do a framing project. We'll schedule it in. That partnership, that all-inclusiveness is really important, and I think what's made this work.
Yeah, we're here to provide what you as contractors need, not so much what we need. You know, that's a benefit too, but if you're in need of somebody and he comes off that bus and he can provide that need to you, then we've done our job. You know, if he gets construction math and blueprint reading and knows how to swing a hammer and, you know, dig a trench, that's what you need.
Read a tape.
Read a tape. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, seriously.
We get apprentices that, you know, in their second, third year sometimes they can't read a tape.
Yeah,
Or right out of high school they can't do math, basic math. And Frank he's incredible how he can take a student that struggled with math through his whole high school career, and in 3 weeks he can have that guy doing all kinds of math easily. He could have that kid laying out a whole mechanical room in 3 weeks with the math. That's how incredible Frank is.
Yeah.
And I don't want to brag on Frank a whole lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say he doesn't.
we have a running joke. He calls me Pa because I'm the oldest one in our administration right now, and he calls me Pa. So he likes to get under my skin. So when I have a chance to get back at him, I will. But
Right?
anyway, he's incredible. He does some outstanding things. So yeah, I mean that's in a nutshell. That's what we have, and hopefully, you know, I'm glad there are communities here. Some community leaders are here, and can listen to what we have to say. You know, your municipalities aren't going anywhere, but your infrastructures are falling apart. You know, a lot of your this program could to help build that back to where your infrastructure is strong and healthy again. Your utilities, your mechanical rooms, you know, carpentry, building, you know, whatever you guys need. This is an opportunity to make that happen with support from a lot of different people. So I'm hoping it sticks. And you guys have, like I said, this training center, something that we make work. You have the infrastructure out here on campus. You really do.
And we appreciate you guys, and we're fully committed. So we'll overcome whatever obstacles we need to, but you can count us in, and we're ready to start whenever. And this is what what some of our students need. And I know a lot of them may not have spoken out today, but they come around, right?
Yeah.
They still oftentimes don't know or understand where they may want to head.
Mm-hmm.
But when given some opportunities and pushed and prodded a little bit, they do. And so we just keep working with them.
They make that
So
first step.
today might be 2 and tomorrow might be a few more, but we're committed. So as long as our community is willing to work with us and collaborate,
Yeah.
we're in.
Well, it's like Joan always says, she's got $80,000 in student debt, and she doesn't even utilize that degree.
Yeah.
So she's gonna give it back to them.
Yeah, I'm thinking they're gonna come repo it.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Maybe they'll come repo it. But yeah, if there's no other questions or anything, I know that we've been here for an hour, and some people already had to leave.
Looks like there's some food over there.
And there's food over there. So
So I just thank you guys for coming. This has been so great to see happen. I just appreciate everybody who's been part of this conversation, and the contractors, the few that are here. It's like you guys. This is for you, for your businesses, that to in turn help our community. So we're really appreciative. And Tony is the one that actually sponsored the food here, so we have some great food from the Martinez family, and I hope you all please eat, take some food with you. All right, and thanks for coming up, everybody who drove up from Las Vegas, Albuquerque.